What's up guys, this is MI. Welcome to my second video for SYNTHO. In this video I'm going to talk to you about mixing, how I approach my mixdowns, making mixing easier and showing you some things that usually people don't do when it comes to mixing.
SYNTHO.
Usually when I finish a track, I like to just render out the stems so that I cannot change anything about the track anymore, just focusing on the mix sound, which is what I did with this track. It's really important to know that you know how your studio or headphones sound, because if you're going to mix on a system that you don't know, what probably ends up happening is that you're going to mix it the way that it's going to sound nice in that room. But most rooms aren't treated properly. I'd recommend maybe listening to 5 to 10 reference tracks, chill, set up your stuff, play some music so you can really get to know the room. For now we're just going to start with basic leveling, that's just it. Obviously in the project, when I made it, I already kind of mixed it, so probably when I play it like this, it's kind of there. It's the bass a little bit loud, but too many people just break their heads over compression, saturation, EQing. Just forget all that for now and just level. Leveling is the most important thing you can do. So one more thing I like to do is put the kick next to the bass line in my mixer, because that way you can really see what the two do compared to each other in terms of volume. As you can see, it's really like the kick is way louder than the bass line. And this is a bass line with a lot of mids. Just remove some mids. Okay, that's a lot better already. And as I told in the previous video, it's really important to gain stage, not putting your sounds too loud, because as you can see, the 303, it was way too soft in the mix I make right now, and I had to turn it up quite a bit. It would have clipped so hard, so that's why I always keep everything super soft, and that way you have enough room to play around with your volume and elements. Alright, so I think when it comes to leveling, this is the best we can do. Basically the next step, what you need to do is just listen. I already instantly hear a couple of things I need to change in the mix. First one being the bass line and the lead. They're clashing very, very hard. So this has a lot of mids. This has a lot of mids. So we're going to just start with the lead. Make this a little bit brighter. So this is when we run into the first problem of mixing. We want to boost frequencies that aren't there. As you can see, we can boost it as hard as we want, but it's gonna sound really shitty. We have to add some frequencies there. There's one way to do that, which is saturation. Saturation basically creates new harmonics in the high end or either the low end. One plugin we can use for that is Saturn, and we can just play it, and I'm gonna just add the dynamics, and you can see what's gonna happen right here. So much more higher already. This way we can really make a sound show in the high frequencies when it's originally only present in the low frequencies. So when it comes to mixing, there's not only volume and frequencies, there's also the panning. Funnily enough, when you have a sound that clashes, one way to separate it is to give each other space in the frequency spectrum, but another way to do it is to give each other space in the y direction. So what we can do is add a little imager and make the other one mono. As you can see, I already added some imaging there, so this is probably a little bit too much, but just for the sake of the video. This is a free plugin, by the way. We're gonna turn the bass line mono all the way. So this is what it was first. And then with the processing, so much better. And then I'm just gonna put a little kickstart. It's just volume automation for a 4 to the floor to kick. It's really simple. Let's see what the 303 does. As you can see, I'm not focusing on the typical stuff people tend to explain you when it comes to mixing, like remove all low frequencies, add compression or this and that. No, I'm just gonna do leveling first, look for problems, solve the problems, and then your mix is done. It's basically simple as that. You could like remove some low end stuff. I always like to think that keeping it there gives just the track a little extra touch. If you ask me, just try not to focus on too much EQing. Just leveling is really important. The mid lead is really prominent in this part, and then the sub is more prominent here. So if we want to make the 303 pop out, we're just going to boost this part a little bit. On to the next part, the drums. I'm just gonna listen per drum, how it sounds, if it needs anything, and then adjust the levels accordingly. So yeah, one thing I noticed immediately is that the drums, they are like here. But what you want to have is drums here and drums there and drums there. When you're using headphones, it sounds really weird to mix on headphones. That's why you shouldn't mix on headphones. Let's just pan the drums a little bit. It may sound weird at first, but when you listen to it later, it just sounds like the drums got more space because obviously you give them more space by giving them their own little spot in the stereo image. So as you can hear, this head has a lot of low end in it, but I'm just gonna keep it there. You'll see why later, but it's not really necessary to remove it right now. So I'm just gonna put this one really wide with the imager. So what I'm basically doing is just problem solving. Firstly, I level, and then I'm just gonna listen, hear a problem, solve the problem, go to the next problem. That's it. That's basically what mixing is for me. Okay, so in this one, there's too much low end. Let's just remove that. Also, I don't recommend using like really harsh cuts. Like doing this is gonna really affect the sound. What I like to do is just maybe give it 24 dB per octave or 18, maybe like that, and just put it down like this. It's gonna remove the most, but still keep the juice in there, you know. After you're done mixing, making a low end bus, making a synth bus, making a drum bus, you basically have 4 or 5, maybe 6 different buses that are already mixed on their own. And all you have to do at the end is just make a little mix with those 6 buses, which is fairly easy because it's only 6 buses. And then also on the buses, you can do some really nice little tricks that can make your mix a lot better and fatter. So one thing is using a compressor. This is just gonna glue the drums together a little bit better. So another nice little trick what you can do is close your eyes, spam the button, just don't look, spam it, and then listen. When it sounds better, when it's in, you've done a good job, and when it's not, just remove it. So the next thing we can do is put some saturation on the entire bus, squeeze the dynamics, just like we did with the lead sound. Glue them even a bit more. So I like to use this preset, gentle saturator, because it's one bus. So for example, when I pick the basic saturator, it's 2. I just want to keep it as simple as possible. Just gentle saturator. Put a little bit softer. I like to put a little bit of tape on the master. Actually, a couple of times in a couple of tracks, even used real tape, a real actual tape machine to put my drum bus through. So if we compare the before to the after with the 3 processing plugins. You can see it's nice and controlled, so the saturation and the tape doesn't let it clip above a certain level. And then also it's more compact, so the individual sounds are a bit less separated. It sounds like a nice little glued bus, which is more important to me. So we're gonna move that drum bus out of the way. For now we're good. Maybe we could check how we're doing with the EQing. Looks perfect to me. And then we're gonna do the same with the bass line. You have to be careful with your drum and kick bass. It easily is gonna get muddy, so I'm not gonna go all in just like I did with the drum bus. A little bit is always possible. So I'm just gonna put it on 2 with an attack of 30. Make it a little bit more punchy, but not too much because of the ratio. Okay, so this looks pretty tight for a low end. This is fine for now. I don't want to put too much energy into the buses. Let's see where we're at with the mix. Okay, so the 303 is not really something I'm happy at. Let's remove a little bit of mids from there. There's like one frequency in there that's just hurting my ears, which is this one. And it's also not that wide, and since it's not a bassy part, we can put it pretty wide. Yeah, there we go. So this one is also really mono. I mean, it's good to have some mono elements, but like melodic elements, in my opinion, always should have at least a little bit of stereo imaging. That's a lot. That's a basic mix down. There's your pre-master. So obviously it's far from done, but I just wanted to show you within 1 hour how I approach my mixing. Don't just start with leveling. Leveling is the most important thing. Leveling, find problems, solve problems, and keep doing that until you get your mix down. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys learned something today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to my Instagram or through the app. And I think that's it for now.
SYNTHO.